I used to pray that the gas station would authorize my card for $5, hoping I had enough to get to work. I was 29 years old, making decent money, and I had negative $47 in my account. Fast forward 6 years, and that number has 6 figures in it. And the crazy part? I didn't win the lottery. I didn't get a massive inheritance. I just stopped lying to myself. Hi, I'm Daniel Brooks, and you're watching Wealthic Voyage. Today, we're diving into the exact, unglamorous, and sometimes painful habits that bridge the gap between living paycheck to paycheck and holding your first $100,000. Let me ask you a question. When you hear someone say they have $100,000 saved, what is the first thought that pops into your head? Be honest. Is it, they must have a rich spouse? Or, they must make $500,000 a year? We love to tell ourselves these stories because they protect us. They make our current situation feel like a result of bad luck, rather than bad habits. I remember sitting in my car in the parking lot of a grocery store. I had a carton of milk and a loaf of bread on the passenger seat. I was crying. Not loud sobbing, just silent tears of frustration. I made $55,000 a year. That's not poverty, right? That's a living wage. So why was I broken? The answer was what I call the invisible leaks. Most people focus on the big expenses, rent, the car payment. But the reason I was broke, and the reason most people stay broke, has nothing to do with the big stuff. It's the small, daily decisions that act like termites eating away at the foundation of your house. I was spending $7 on a latte every morning. I was buying lunch every day because I was too tired to pack one. I was subscribing to 3 different streaming services I barely watched. I was buying clothes on sale because they were a good deal, not because I needed them. I was spending money I didn't have to impress people I didn't even like. Have you ever looked at your bank statement and thought, where did it all go? That right there is the danger zone. So, how do you fix it? Everyone tells you to make a budget, and if you're like me, you've tried that. You download an app, you categorize everything, and by day 3, you're annoyed and you quit. Why? Because budgeting feels like a diet. It feels restrictive. It feels like you're constantly telling yourself, no. The first habit no one talks about is flipping the script. Instead of budgeting your spending, you have to budget your savings. This was my turning point. I realized I had 0 willpower. If the money was in my checking account, I was going to spend it. It was like leaving a chocolate cake on the counter when you're on a diet. Eventually, you're going to take a bite. So, I opened a savings account at a completely different bank. A bank where I didn't have a debit card. A bank where it took 3 days to transfer money out. I set up an automatic transfer on payday. Every single Friday, $200 vanished from my checking account before I even woke up. I didn't see it. I didn't touch it. I forced myself to live on what was left. This is the concept of pay yourself first, but people misunderstand it. They pay themselves last with whatever crumbs are left over. You have to pay yourself first and treat your savings like a bill that, if you don't pay it, the lights go out. I started small. That $200 a week was painful. I had to cancel dinners out. I had to cook. But after 2 months, I didn't notice it was gone. My lifestyle adjusted automatically. That is the psychology of scarcity. When you have less available, you spend less. Let's talk about the enemy of savings: impulse buying. We live in an economy designed to steal your attention and your wallet. You scroll Instagram, you see an ad, you click, you buy. It takes 10 seconds. I needed a system to stop myself because my brain was weak. I created what I call the 72-hour rule. Here is how it works. If I see something I want to buy, anything over $50 that isn't food or gas, I write it down on a note on my phone. I write the date, and then I force myself to wait 72 hours. Do you know what happened? After 3 days, the dopamine rush of the want faded away. I looked at my list after a week. I realized I didn't need the new sneakers. I didn't need the gadget. I just wanted the feeling of buying them. This brings me to a crucial realization. We are trying to buy our way out of negative emotions. We buy because we are bored. We buy because we are sad. We buy because we feel inadequate compared to our neighbors. I had to learn to separate needs from wants, and I did this through a practice called subtractive living. Instead of looking for the next thing to buy, I started looking for things to sell. I looked around my apartment at all the junk I had wasted money on, the guitar I never played, the juicer I used once, the clothes with tags still on them. I sold them all. I took that money, about $1,500, and dumped it into that locked savings account. Seeing that number go up gave me a higher high than any purchase ever could. It was addictive. I realized that real wealth isn't about having the most stuff, it's about having the most options. Now, saving is only half the equation. You can't save your way to $100,000 $10,000 if you're making minimum wage forever. The third habit is the most overlooked one. You have to increase your earning potential. For 2 years, I was stagnant. I was good at my job, but I was invisible. I was waiting for someone to notice me and give me a raise. That never happened. So, I started treating my career like a business. I spent 1 hour every night learning a new skill: Excel, data visualization, public speaking. I didn't pay for expensive courses. I used free resources. 6 months later, I walked into my boss's office. I didn't ask for a raise. I pitched a project that would save the company money. I showed them the value I could bring. They gave me a $10,000 raise. That $10,000 raise, after taxes, was about $600 a month extra. Instead of upgrading my car or moving to a nicer apartment, what most people do, I kept living exactly the same way. I funneled that entire raise into my savings. This is the lifestyle inflation trap. When you make more, you naturally want to spend more. It's called the hedonic treadmill. You get a nicer car, you get used to it, the happiness fades, and you want an even nicer car. The people who hit $100K in savings are the ones who break the treadmill. They keep driving the old car. They keep living in the modest apartment. They pretend their income hasn't changed, even while their bank account grows. So, let's recap. The habits no one talks about aren't sexy. They aren't crypto tips or stock picks. Automate your savings so you don't have to rely on willpower. Implement the 72-hour rule to kill impulse buying. Invest in your skills and ruthlessly avoid lifestyle inflation. I want to finish with this. The day I crossed $100,000 in savings, I didn't throw a party. I didn't buy a luxury watch. I sat in that same chair I'm sitting in now, and I took a deep breath. That money isn't just numbers on a screen. It's sleep. It's the ability to tell a toxic boss, no. It's the ability to take a risk on a business idea without worrying about losing my home. It's freedom. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Every time you say no to a want today, you are saying yes to your freedom tomorrow. Start today. Automate $50. Wait 72 hours for that purchase. It doesn't matter if you start small. It just matters that you start. Because the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.